Hello guys, welcome back to the channel once again. Today I'm super uber mega excited to be sharing this video with you guys because today we will have to talk about this movie that is very toxic. To start off with, the lesbian couple in this movie, let me tell you, it is something very different and very intense at the same time. So yes, before we get into further details, please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and also let me know your personal opinion down below in the comments as well. And if you guys have watched this movie, also your opinion does matter. And thank you so much for all the love and all the support you guys have showing on the channel. It definitely 100% doesn't go unnoticed. So let's get right into further details regarding this movie. To start off, you know, the movie is called The Origin of Evil. Yes, you can watch it on Amazon Video and Apple TV. The movie was released in 2012 and it's a French movie, but subtitles are available. So regarding that, you have no worries. I actually also had to watch it with subtitles, but it's very easy to understand if you ask me, you know, so I will 100% recommend watching it. So the movie follows Stephanie, who gets in touch with a wealthy man named Sergi, announcing that she is his long abandoned daughter. Yes, Stephanie, who in reality is actually Natalie, embarks on an extended visit in hopes of getting closer to Serge. Yes, so far it might look like everything is normal, but no, it is not, because it's actually a very important twist to the story that changes the whole aspect of the movie. And like I said in the beginning of the video, it's toxic. It's very toxic. I feel like this is one of the most toxic lesbian relationships out there that I have seen so far. But in reality, Serge, you know, biological daughter is actually Stephanie, who is actually in prison serving a sentence for 5 years for accidentally taking her girlfriend's life away. Yes, Stephanie and Natalie met in prison while Natalie was also serving time for fraud, you know. Natalie got released from prison and is struggling, you know, to find her balance in life. She actually works in a factory, but she is gonna lose the place where she is living at. She's basically homeless. She's not making enough money to come around, so she have decided to do something that she well know that she wasn't, you know, supposed to do. So she actually ends up, you know, getting in contact with Stephanie's father, Serge, who is a millionaire, who is a very wealthy family, and basically taking on her girlfriend's identity, who's in prison, you know. Yes, it's a very complicated situation, let me tell you. And at the beginning I was kind of confused because they don't really reveal who is who until the middle of the movie, and that's where everything actually starts to make sense. Natalie ends up taking her lover Stephanie identity and gets closer to her father. Natalie never told Stephanie what she was doing, and she even went so far to get a fake ID to prove that she was actually Stephanie, because, you know, Serge's wife and Serge members of his family was actually starting to have doubt about her. So she went back to her old ways and actually got a fake ID to prove that she was Stephanie. And after that, everything actually got sorted out and they kind of believed him, but not actually, you know. Because if just to make a quick sum up regarding this whole other storyline that actually develops in the movie, is that Serge, in this case, you know, Stephanie's biological father, he's not such of a good man. He's abusive, he's very violent, and he's currently asking Stephanie, who in this case is Natalia, helping her to actually help him through this court situation that he's going through, because his wife and his other stepdaughter is actually trying to get all of his money and all of his wealth. So, you know, he needs someone to testify, you know, for him to say that he is still capable of taking care of himself and, you know, managing his own wealth. But, you know, things didn't go that way. Things definitely 100% didn't go that way. And to be honest, I actually also get, because I thought he was actually a good man, he was innocent, but now he's very violent. And you can see that Stephanie, his biological daughter, also has that violent traits of him, because she's also very aggressive, if you ask me, you know. Stephanie, the real Stephanie, ends up, you know, finding out that her father passed away through a newsletter, but she could not leave prison to actually go to the funeral because she couldn't prove that she was actually his biological daughter. There was no birth certificate, there was none of that. So it was very hard for her, you know, to go out. But actually what ends up happening is that Natalia, and in this case Serge, end up at the hospital when he was in the hospital because he got an attack. They were having a conversation, and this whole time Serge actually knew, you know, that Natalia wasn't his daughter, because according to Serge, he actually went to see his daughter trial. He saw that his daughter got sentenced to prison for 5 years for doing what she did, and that, you know, Natalia in this case was an impostor and she was portraying to be someone that she's not. And during that whole situation, when Natalia found out that Serge actually knew about her true identity, she ends up taking his life away in the hospital, and the stepdaughter actually ends up seeing, you know, she doing it, and they actually end up becoming, you know, associates in the crime. But they got away with it, you know, because he was already sick. He already had a lot of heart problems, so it looks like it was a natural passing, but it was not. And that thing really, I was like, whoa, like this movie is slow but it's intense, if you ask me. So after that, you know, Stefani, she couldn't go to the funeral, so she actually ends up escaping prison in order to go to the funeral, to go see her father one last time. But when she gets to the funeral, she actually ends up surprised to see her girlfriend, her partner Natalia, in the front row of the funeral, and she was like, what are you doing here? And that's where she actually ends up finding out that this whole time Natalia was taking on her identity, pretending to be her, infiltrating in her family. And, you know, of course, they didn't sit well with her, because all this time, you know, Natalia knew that Stefani wanted to get to know her father, and Natalia was always the one who told her, no, you shouldn't get close to your father, you know what he did to your mother. So for her to go on and do this behind her back without her permission, basically stealing her whole identity, there was a whole situation. So after that, the two got into a very, very heated altercation, and physical as well, and Natalie ends up taking Stefani's life away, and then actually threw her body away in the ocean. But Natalia didn't get away with the crime, because the police caught her in a very unexpected way, because they was actually asking questions around, and they end up, you know, going to, of course, Stefani's biological father's house, Serge in this case, to ask if they have seen her. No, and they said no. And then while, you know, Natalia did the crime, she actually ended up taking up Stefani's phone and put it in her pocket. So the police decides to call her because she escaped prison, so they are trying to locate her, and they call her, and they actually found out that like in this case, at that very, very moment, you know, Natalie was with Stefani's phone in her pocket, and that's how she got caught. So she didn't get away with the crime. Yes, guys, I'm just trying to give you a very, very brief, you know, preview of everything that's been going on in this movie. There's way, way more details that if you guys want to understand it from the beginning to the end, I would 100 trillion% recommend you all to go watch it, because like I said, like, this couple is intense. Like the way they act, the way, I don't know, it's just. And also, there's something I have to point out. The people in prison was already advising Stefani to be careful with Natalie, because she always does that. She always gets close with the inmates and then use them for her advantage. And of course, you know, Stefani, she didn't want to believe it, because Natalie is actually the only person who is there for her. So it was very hard for her to see how she actually ends up betraying her, you know. So once again, for more details, you can watch this movie on Amazon Video and Apple TV. It's 100 trillion% recommended. If you guys haven't watched it, go watch it and let me know your thoughts. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Until the next video, and goodbye.